All right, so we have our paragraph here. This paragraph has a class P1. We are going to check out what P1 stands for in this CSS. And then in the text, we have a span around the cannot word. You can see the span around that. So let's check out the CSS. We have our P1 class. Notice that below it, we have the span, but it's commented out. We will get back to that. For now, we have our padding, background color, and border. So this is the output. We have our text, and the elements that we have span around, nothing is applied to it because that CSS is commented out. When we apply that, you will notice that because it's an inline element, the width and height are ignored. The vertical, margin, padding, and border are respected, but it doesn't really change the relationship to other content in the inline box. When I uncomment it out, we can see that we have margin, padding, width, and height. When applied, you will notice that the horizontal padding will move content away from the box, but the vertical margin does not change the relationship of other content. You can see that the padding and border overlap other words in the paragraph. There is a special display value that gives you a middle ground between inline and block. It is called inline-block. You can use this if you do not want an item to break into a new line, but you also want it to respect the width and height to avoid the overlapping, as we can see here. This behaves like an inline, so that's why we have this kind of behavior. We're going to go back to the code and add display inline-block to this span. That will give it an inline-block display, which is a little bit of inline and a little bit of block. So some properties of inline and some properties of block. Voila. So now you can see that it didn't go into a block totally, but at the same time, it still has some block features and some inline features. So now the width and height are respected, but it still remains in line as an inline element. It doesn't break into a new line. Now, sometimes this feature is important. For example, let's say you have a link and you want it to have a larger padding so that a user can click it. You might want to use this type of feature on that link. You can try it out and read more about the inline block feature in CSS.